Let me ask you, politically, have you always been where you are right now politically?
No, I was a liberal Democrat. Now I'm a libertarian.
When did you switch? What year?
Probably 20 years into my career, so
89?
89.
And what caused you to flip? 89 was who, Reagan?
It wasn't
Reagan to
politics.
Bush.
It was gradual. I mean, I call it an epiphany in my book where I talk about it, but it was slow. We would do stories. We would take a TV to 20 repair shops with one loose part. And 18 would say, oh, loose part, no charge. And 2 would say, oh, we'll have to keep it over the weekend, and they'd charge you $200. And we'd come back, and I'd say, well, would you ever cheat people like this? Oh, no, we'd never do that. Oh, yeah, watch this. And I'd press the record, the play button, and show how they had cheated us. And they were embarrassed. And it was good TV. And so then the politicians would call. Oh, that was really interesting. We're going to solve that. We're going to create a Department of Consumer Affairs in Oregon. And they did. And I was so proud. Young John Stossel was being paid attention to by these important politicians, and they were going to solve the problem. But we'd do the story again and get the same result. It's the free market. Most people are honest. They want repeat business. The way to get really rich in a free market is to treat your customers well. A couple people cheat. But the same result. So what was the Department of Consumer Affairs doing? I look into that. They have a dreary government building where there are a bunch of bureaucrats licensing TV repair shops and car repair shops, too. We did it for that. And people intuitively like that. We license drivers. We license dogs. It makes us feel safer. But it doesn't make us safer. It just adds layers of paperwork to go through. So if you are an immigrant who doesn't speak English, maybe you go black market, and then you can be extorted by the police, or you have to worry that you will be. You don't build up your business. Or you got to, when you're in a low-margin business, spend your money on a lawyer, and they cost a fortune just to explain the complicated rules. And you go down there, you renew it every year. It just adds layers and layers of sclerosis on top of
overregulate. So
life.
you notice. So you notice. Let me paraphrase what you're saying and see if I'm saying it correctly. So you're a liberal Democrat. You're going out there holding small businesses accountable. You're making those videos. Oh, I got you, and all of a sudden they're embarrassed, but it's great for TV, and people are watching it. Oh, John is watching out for us. He's looking out for us. And then all of a sudden you flip because you notice that Consumer Affairs isn't doing the best thing for the people. It's making the process even slower. Then you, from your experience, you said, this doesn't make any sense to me.
All correct except for the all of a sudden, because I saw that the regulation wasn't working.
Got it.
So I started reading the conservative media. But they seemed to want to police the bedroom and police the whole world, and I didn't like that. And I discovered Reason Magazine and libertarianism, and it was a whole new way of thinking about the free market, and I lapped this up, and I thought, oh, I've seen the light. I'm a born-again free market person. And I've naively assumed that other people who saw what I saw would flip too. But they don't. Some people just cannot get comfortable with the benefits of competition and markets.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think competition, there's some words today that is a curse word today. Like I'm hiring I'm doing an interview the other day, and I ask some questions when I'm hiring somebody, and I say, so what do you think about competition? What do you think about capitalism? I just ask a basic open-ended question. I'm putting my kids at a private school here in Florida, and I interview the people that are bringing kids in. So what do you think about capitalism? They start smiling. Why are you smiling? What's funny? You must be a pro such and such. I said, no, I'm just asking you, what do you think about capitalism? How do you guys teach capitalism to your kids? Well, we teach the benefits of socialism, and we teach the benefits of capitalism, and we let the kids decide. I said, you realize your tuition is $32,000. Only a capitalist can afford your school. So if you're going to do a socialism and the benefits of it, you're going to have no parent that can afford to pay the socialistic tuition, because the socialists can't afford to pay your tuition to your school. But capitalism's become a curse word.
And the capitalists are all guilty about their money and have no idea that it was free markets that made it for them. So the rich capitalists are eager to have their kids taught socialism.
Are you being sarcastic? Or
No, they don't get it. They live in the world where they don't see the basic principles that made them money. They see the ruthless part. They see, yes, some people fail, some people are left
So they kind of
behind.
get embarrassed by it, you think?
Yes.
I had a guy named Ernie, one of our marketing directors. I asked him, I said, so Ernie, he went to Berkeley. And, African-American, played for Cal, and he came out, and all of a sudden one day he flips. Thomas Sowell guy, Thomas, you've done a video on Thomas just recently. Thomas Sowell, classic soul, school choice. And then he flips. I said, let me ask you a question. Why do so many billionaires vote the way that they do? He says, because they feel guilty. I said, guilty for what? What do you feel guilty about? Do they all of a sudden think that they are somehow better than others? Do they somehow think that they have some special gifts that others don't have? So, hey, it's not, I have an unfair advantage over the average person because I'm smarter than you? What is it? What do you think it is?
In terms of voting, maybe they're voting that they don't want to be anti-immigration, or they don't want foreign wars, or they don't want tariffs. It's not all about markets.
Got it. Yeah, I just wonder right now, on, even what happened 2 weeks ago with the Georgia Union for Amazon, right? You were probably following that whole story.
Liking the result. The media was going, oh, they're going to unionize it.
Yeah.
So they're so unhappy here.
Yeah.
And they got killed.
But here's the kicker. The day before Union lost, I don't know if you followed this, the day before Union lost, Bezos went into public and said, I support the increase in taxes. He says, I don't think we're paying enough taxes. So do you think, I'm speculating, you've been around this longer than I have, do you think behind closed doors a phone call was made saying, hey, just a few years ago when Obama was raising taxes, Obama got Buffett to agree to say, I'm not paying enough taxes. Remember the whole story about I'm only paying 15% and I shouldn't be paying as little taxes. I should be paying more taxes. And Buffett came out and said, and then Obama said, if Buffett thinks we should raise taxes, why do the rest of the rich people have a problem with it, right? Do you think this is a playbook to say, you're not going to do union, we'll give it to you. But you got to go out there and say it's okay to raise taxes because if you agree with it, we're going to get others to vote for it. What do you think?
No, I don't think those phone calls happen. I think it happens naturally because he's a little guilty and he wants to be liked, and he can afford to pay more taxes.
Do you think he actually wants to be liked? Do you think he feels guilty? That's something you think is going on in Bezos's
I think
mindset?
everybody he wants to be liked. He's got security guards, I assume, because they're crazy people who are so angry about the wealth disparity, they
Mark
would kill him.
Zuckerberg spends $25 million a year
yeah.
on security.
And, that's a shame. But the wealth disparity does drive people to do that. The evil part on Bezos' side, I think, is that he also came out and said, and I pay all my workers $15 minimum wage, and there should be a law that everybody should. Mm-hmm. And if he wants to do it, fine. He can afford to because he's got the technology to automate.
Yep.
But it's a business trick for the big company to come and say, yeah, everybody should pay the high wages that I pay, because then he doesn't have to compete with the people who will hire at-risk kids and give them a first job. And that's just, he must know how evil that is. And that's just mean to do that.
And by the way, essentially, Bernie Sanders pushing that whole month when he was pushing Bezos to raise minimum wage to $15, he was pushing them, and Walmart is who he was pushing for nonstop. This was a couple of years ago when this was taking place. So essentially, a socialist, Sanders, helped a big company like Amazon and Walmart.
Yeah, he's just economically stupid.
Who's that? Bernie?
Bernie.
Economically stupid. It's a very
ignorant.
Yeah, it's a safe term. It's going back. You said, and I asked you, I said Reagan. You said no, it wasn't really Reagan. I said all of a sudden you flipped. You're like, no, that's the only part that the story is not correct. It was gradually, right? Who were some of the names that impacted you? Would you say Sowell, Friedman, Reagan? Who would you say some of the names were?
Sowell, Friedman, Hazlitt, Economics in One Easy Lesson. Mm-hmm. For kids, I recommend Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, just a fiction story that 50 years ago, she summed up the bureaucracy we have now.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.